Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into some reports coming out of WWE. Seems like a key creative team member might be on their way out.
Yeah, interesting news. And we're basically trying to figure out what this might mean based on a fictional podcast that discussed it.
Exactly. So the goal is to understand the potential ripples this could cause.
And the person we're talking about, according to these reports, is insert name. It kind of highlights how crucial those behind-the-scenes roles are, you know?
Absolutely. Often unseen work, but vital for the stories we actually watch.
Totally.
And insert name wasn't just anyone, apparently. The reports suggest they were pretty central to WWE's creative direction for, well, quite a while now.
Yeah, not someone on the sidelines.
Right. Deeply involved, it sounds like. Shaping major storylines, writing promos, planning the big PLEs, especially during this pretty transitional time for WWE.
And you can kind of see the potential impact when you look at the storylines mentioned in the podcast we reviewed. Well, they specifically brought up alleged involvement in the Bloodline saga. I mean, that's dominated things for years.
Huge story.
And then there's Sami Zayn's underdog run. That whole thing was just incredibly compelling, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely. So many great moments.
Even some of the earlier Bray Wyatt stuff, the more, out there creative angles, said to have had their fingerprints on those too.
So these are fan favorite narratives we're talking about, things that really connected.
Exactly. Central to that recent buzz around WWE.
Okay, so if they were reportedly so important, why the departure? What did the Source podcast speculate on?
A couple of main things came up. First, maybe not surprisingly, potential cost cutting.
Ah, the TKO factor.
Right. Since the merger bringing WWE and UFC together, there's always that drive to, find efficiencies, trim the budget.
And big mergers often lead to that kind of thing, don't they? Looking for synergy, reducing overhead.
Unfortunately, yeah. And that can mean tough calls on staffing, even for really key people.
Makes sense. What was the other angle?
The other idea floated was creative restructuring, specifically under Triple H's leadership.
Okay, what would that look like?
Well, the thinking might be a shift towards a more streamlined, maybe more tightly controlled creative process, perhaps a more centralized vision coming from the top.
Consolidating creative control, maybe? Fewer cooks in the kitchen, so to speak?
Potentially. It definitely raises questions about where WWE storytelling is headed.
So let's talk impact. What could this actually mean for Raw and SmackDown each week? The podcast seemed to think WWE creative's been pretty strong lately.
Generally, yeah. People have noticed those longer stories, better promos, characters feeling more developed.
So losing someone reportedly key to that, you feel like it could create some, I don't know, instability.
That's the potential risk, right?
Yeah.
Could we see a dip, maybe storylines feel a bit rushed, or pivots happen that don't quite make sense?
Yeah, awkward turns.
Those are real possibilities when a major creative voice leaves the room.
But is it all potentially negative? Couldn't the momentum just continue? The rest of the team is still there.
That's true. It's definitely possible. And sometimes change can actually, spark new ideas. Maybe it opens the door for other voices.
A catalyst for innovation, maybe.
Could be. But the source material also kind of urged caution, putting this in a bigger picture.
Oh, so?
It mentioned remembering the previous waves of releases talent, Backstage people, in 2023, early 2024.
Ah, right. There have been quite a few cuts.
Yeah, suggesting this might not be isolated. It could be part of that larger, ongoing TKO restructuring of WWE.
So the question becomes, is this just one person leaving, or is it a sign of more changes as TKO gets everything integrated?
Exactly. Makes you wonder if more departures might be coming down the line as they finalize the new structure.
Which brings us back to that final point the podcast raised.
Yeah, the core question. Is this a smart, strategic business decision for TKO, optimizing how things run?
Or could it disrupt the creative success that WWE's been building up recently? That momentum we talked about.
It's that classic tension, isn't it? Corporate strategy versus, well, the art of wrestling storytelling.
Precisely. Are they streamlining smartly, or are they potentially messing with the magic formula that's been working?
It's definitely something to keep an eye on, see how things play out in the next few months.
For sure. Well, that's our dive for today. Thanks for exploring this with us.